What's going on, gamers? Hopefully everyone is having a great holiday. We got some interesting stuff to talk about here. This is not console warring. I haven't been doing that in a while. This is about Japan's response to PlayStation 5's price cut, even for the holidays, and their continuation of supporting the Switch 2. It's very interesting here because Nintendo's doing monster numbers, 221,000 for this week. As I said, they're going to have a monster number chart, and for Japan, almost close to 1 million consoles sold for the whole month, just in Japan alone. We know historically, I don't know if people know historically, Nintendo usually does huge numbers for December. Historically, they've always won that, but I think Sony can compete. This is not console war, this is more like just understanding the way the market works. I think Sony can compete in total sales in December because of the deals they gave. This is more about Sony being more pro-consumer for almost an entire month, which was insane. And I'm glad you guys all got your PS5 Pros or your $399 Fortnite bundles, or if you want to do the other one with more, with the 1 TB, you got that deal. And that is good because more people can afford things and be able to at least get that base function as a PC specification. If you compare to what you're trying to do to get a PC like that right now, it's insane. It really is. Or it's about to get even more insane. Thank God I got my stuff out the way, and boy, has NVIDIA been on a tear. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying my coverage on that. But here's my thing. Like, we know Nintendo Switch 2 is going to do these numbers in Japan because they have, like, pretty much domination there. And they're sweeping again here, obviously in the software charts, because this is what they're interested in. This tells you the mindset of Japan. But the disappointing thing is PlayStation 5 Digital only doing 13,000, PS5 only doing 4,000, because you don't have any games dedicated to them. This is crazy, because you would think, like, for the holidays, there'd probably be, like, and they took the price down a lot, just like they did in Western society. But what's the difference here, guys? Is that Western society responds differently to that compared to Japan because of the demographic and the software catering. You see what I mean? Because when it comes to Japan, they're different when it comes to what they want to play when they get online, or even offline in handheld mode or whatever, because we know they like handhelds as well too. But even they have a different mindset on what they want to play. Like, we look at their top charts. Mario Kart World, Pokemon Legends, we know Pokemon's a global phenomenon anywhere, but it's always massive in Japan. Kirby Air Riders, I seem to be loving that. 50,000 physical? This is not even digital, this is physical. It's already almost sold 400,000 physical in Japan. So probably digital split, so it's probably about 700, 800K in Japan, which is really good. Mario Kart is just doing insane numbers. So it's probably, I can't wait to see the full numbers for that. Legends, we know that's already at 10 million, like worldwide probably. And then we see Momotaru, then Tetsu. This always sells in Japan. You know, it's a thing. It's a little like festival thing they like playing. Bonanza's not doing too bad for, you know, what it's doing in Japan. Minecraft continues to truck in Japan. We see Mario Party here. Animal Crossing still on their charge, which is actually interesting. But PlayStation 5 doing these numbers is kind of a little bit sad, considering like the deal that you get. And we've seen that they actually got some games that I'm pretty sure they would probably be interested in coming out next year, but they just don't care. And it's like, it is a bit of a letdown, because how do you drop the price that much and that is the response? Well, remember what we talked about before, and what I try to continue to tell people when they first did it and people thought that was going to be some game changer, which is why Sony has to have that makeup over in Western society, is that in order to get Japan's attention back, you have to love them for quite some time and redeem yourself. Because Sony has completely disrespected them for quite some time. They ignored them, they became too Western, and they lost their balance when it comes to having the Japanese development and the Western development, and having the Japanese focus and communication, meaning that you're communicating with them. Because when Jim Ryan was leading, I don't know if you guys remember, he cut off that communication, and that wasn't good. So what ended up happening was, it's like you saying a company that's from their own hometown is cutting off its own hometown to basically mass sell and take over and monopolize in Europe. That's a betrayal, you know what I mean? And then all your games, which I don't have a problem with Sony's games. I know some people can say some funny stuff like I've seen before in certain videos with the same protagonist, or the certain type of protagonist, the running up, the zooming in on the third person, and having the side little character telling you about that. Then just some funny stuff when it comes to that. But they're good games though overall, but they're movie rush narratives. But when you look at like that focus, if you get what I mean, it's all like Western movie like. There's nothing Japanese really there, except something like Ghost of Tsushima or Ghost of Yote, which they did support for a little bit. But other than that, it's like when they're looking at that, they're like, where's the balance at? And what about us? You know what I mean? So they're just going to go fully with Nintendo. And that tells you a lot because, like I said, it wasn't necessarily, because you got to understand the way the Japanese work, it wasn't necessarily just about you just lowering the price. I'm saying, here, you can afford this now. They're still looking at you in another dimension. And it's what I just covered. The way that you catered to the Western society way more, the way that you betrayed them, the way that Sony displayed themselves and their identity as way more Western and European than Japanese. And it's not like you couldn't support that, but it's like you had to find a balance and they didn't. So that's one of those reasons why. And what else is there to really? It's not an argument because it's like you got the deal, you got the price down. So it's not just the price; it's much more than that. And we see this here. So going down here, dang, Switch 2 is killing it. 40K for Switch 1. Which one is a beast? Because, I mean, that's outselling it, man. You know what I mean? Less than 20K, PlayStation 5, yeesh. All my coworkers buying their kids Switch 2s. Not jealous at all. Though I did get jump scared when the secretary was asking me about games and she bought Kirby Air Riders, but didn't know if she got the Switch 1 or 2. She got the 2. It was fine. It's Pokemon's world. We are just living in it. That's funny. Good to see Bonanza and Air Riders evergreening. So in this thread, this guy said, seems like the new PS5 was pretty underwhelming, as expected. Timing was terrible. It'll be interesting seeing how PlayStation will respond now. Third parties in Japan probably are all in on Nintendo Switch 2 on 2026. That too, and then you have people like saying, oh, but if Sony had it in handheld, it's like, I get what you're saying, but Vita did not do that well. You have to do it correct. Like, you can't just have a handheld. It's also really good games that cater to that demographic. Like when Pokemon dropped, if Pokemon went to PlayStation, they still would sell a whole lot. You know what I mean? Because that's just what they like playing. And Nishino, I like the guy because at least he realized that he needed to balance, his love back towards Japan and try to make up for that. And at least you're seeing the early hell of it now, and you can still work and try to cater by putting those games there for the next few years before you launch that PlayStation handheld and the PlayStation 6, and probably have a PlayStation 6 Japanese version only and a PlayStation handheld Japanese version only to put the prices down and try to cater with some of those games over there because they're going to have to look at Nintendo. Because, like, here's the thing. They did that because they saw Nintendo had a Japanese only model, and they're like, they're the ones that dominate in Japan, so we got to learn from them. That's good. You're being humble and dropping your ego and pride because that's the only thing you can do if you want to improve. What can you do to improve? Look at the best and say, well, I see they're dominating. I don't have a choice. You know what I mean? I can't compete like this. It doesn't work. And we haven't been catering to them. So the best thing to do is see what Nintendo's doing and try to adjust. And I guarantee you that PlayStation handheld is going to be a Switch-like handheld. It's going to be able to be docked and all that type of stuff. And they're going to have a cheaper model coming to Japan that's going to be cheaper than the Western society model because they don't care. They just want to be able to play in Japanese and play. They're not looking to think that they need Western society. Not that they have it. Japan syncs perfectly with Western society all the time. Look at all the anime and stuff over here and all the stuff that people support, and they like it. Their market grows. So it's not a question of that. It's more like the Japanese will still take that Japanese only and pay that lesser price and, live a more affordable lifestyle and save up and be fine within their community. They've shown they can do that no problem. I think a lot of communities can do that in general, but they don't have a problem with that. And Nintendo knew that too. So that's why there's a cheaper Switch 2 option. And even the games are cheaper over there because they have a different economy and the way they evaluate things towards their communities. It's not the same as Western society, though they can sync on certain things, but they do things differently as a Japanese culture. And it, like I said, it is still surprising because I would think, like in the holidays that, I mean, damn, man, like it's very rough, guys. It's almost like this is stuff you see towards the end of a generation type numbers. So I know Nishino's looking at that. He's like, yeah, man, I dropped the price down by 200, you know what I mean? And, or whatever, you know what I mean? And this is rough. We got to do something else. I tell you, make more Japanese games. You see what I mean? Cater more to Japan and support them more and show that you're still a Japanese company in a lot of ways. They know you've been fully Western for the longest. Like I said, you look at all your hits, and I platinum all PlayStation games. They're mostly Western games. You know what I mean? So they ignore that. They're just going to. That's just who they are. So I want you guys to let me know what you think about this, because it's definitely interesting seeing this. This is not a console war video. This is more about understanding that that price drop did not work and why it didn't work, and what can Sony do now to remedy, to see how PlayStation can improve market-wise in Japan and get back the trust and love of the Japanese to support them. And because we knew Nintendo was going to do this, you know what I mean? This to me is not shocking. What's shocking to me is the PlayStation numbers. Because I was probably thinking, man, you know, maybe it could be a little bit better. You know what I mean? Even I said it's not going to help you a whole lot, but at least you can improve your numbers. Damn, I didn't know it was going to tank down this bad. Definitely in the holidays. It's kind of crazy. So, yeah, crazy stuff down here. And looking at these comments, you know, people are just like, they're shocked. PlayStation would need at least a few exclusives. That's what I'm saying, to sell the PS5. Handhelds in the future, that helps too. It's over for the home console in Japan. I have to say that, yeah. The last peak moment for PlayStation in Japan was Monster Hunter World releasing exclusively on PlayStation 4. Remember that? And there was still like a thing going on with that. But like, yeah, other than that, yeah, I mean, they're going to have to find a different method, because it's just not working. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think. Yeah, Sony, you know what's going down now. You got your answer. And I try to tell people about that too. Later, it's not Western society.